Belka here, back in my home in Utah after a fabulous weekend that we just had in Budapest, Hungary. It was an unbelievable Ascend event. For all those that were there and were able to participate, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We've got a lot of things to recap, but that's not my main focus today. One of the things that I wanted to talk about is, it's always great when you can get validation that what you're doing is what you should be doing, that it's the direction you should be going. And even though everybody's here because you've made a decision, whether it's being at an event and people getting that validation once again that these products are changing people's lives because of what they're seeing, because of what they're hearing, whether it's seeing the testimonials from people that are making the business work and having lives changed, whether it's learning from each other and have that validate one of the decisions that you've already made. So it's always great. Not that you need that, okay? People are here and you're all here because you made a decision to change your life. You made a decision for things to be better. But like I said, it's always great when you can get that validation that you're on the right path, that this is the direction that, should be focused on. And so, as I'm getting home, when I was flying home, we had some football games, American football games that were going on. I was able to watch one, on the flight as I was traveling back. And we're getting ready for what we celebrate here in the States is the Super Bowl. It's coming up. The Super Bowl. It's the final championship game. And, it's getting bigger and bigger across the globe. I know it's not as big, as football or soccer, as we call it here. I know that that's bigger outside of the States, but it's a pretty big deal here in America. And it made me kind of think about how big that this has gotten, how big the sport's gotten and sports in general and different things, and how big music has gotten and how big, movies and the entertainment industry has gotten over the years. And it continues to grow. People like to be entertained. People love their teams. But I wanted to put something in perspective today that hopefully can help you with validation that you are on the right path. That as we talk about, people need a plan B. People need a plan B that can turn into their plan A. People need a side hustle, something that they're doing on the side that can set themselves free, create some additional income, create some additional options. And so as we see more and more companies using people, and when I say using, I'm not saying take advantage. I'm saying using as far as that is the platform, people to people. And being able to have that and empower people to go out there and make the difference and be the difference. We're seeing that continually increase. So as we look back, I was able a couple of years ago, I had the good fortune to go to a Super Bowl game, and it was amazing. My team at that time didn't win, but it didn't matter. Obviously I wanted them to win, but I loved being there. I loved seeing the show and the halftime entertainment, and the whole thing was one big, extravaganza, and show. There was so much money that was put into that. There was so much money. And so, as I'm thinking about this right now, I went online and I kind of looked at some statistical sites, and I wanted to see, as of last year, how much money did the National Football League, the NFL, generate? And the totals that I could find were about $16 billion. So $16 billion is spent and generated in that industry, which is a ton of money. $16 billion. But I want you to remember that number, because even though it's gotten bigger, even though you go to these stadiums and you go, for example, somebody going to the Super Bowl, you're going to see, it's a show. It's not just a game. You're going to see that on TV. But $16 billion is generated through American football. That's a ton of money. Players we know get paid a lot, all these different things. But let's look at music, because these are all industries that are growing. Okay, you look at music, and I went and I looked at some of the statistics. And last year, the music industry, as a whole, did $19.5 billion. So more than the NFL, $19.5 billion on all and they're seeing this trend with more and more, 75% of the music is streaming now. People are using, streaming services to listen to their music rather than just buying a CD or buying a vinyl record in the past. Even though when I was looking at statistics, vinyl records are coming back in the US, more and more people are buying those. But it was interesting to see that through the growth, $19.5 billion globally was spent last year, in the music industry. Another way that we like to entertain ourselves, another industry that's thriving, that people love. And if you look at the movie industry, that's even bigger than that. Okay, the movie industry last year, if we look at global box office sales, was over $42 billion. Okay, people going to the box office, people seeing movies, people renting movies, all of these different things. Over $42 billion were the statistics that I could find. And that's a ton of money. We got the NFL at $16 billion. We got movies at $42 billion. And why do I bring this up? Why do I want to stress this? Well, it's because all these industries have grown year over year over year. As we see even in the music industry or even in the movie industry, more of that's coming through streaming services. So it's changing, how people are getting that entertainment. It's changing how people are getting that music. But the music industry as a whole is still growing. Now, what I find very intriguing, sometimes when people join a direct sales company, a networking company, they almost feel like, they're joining the dark side, or their friends and family think, what are you doing? Why don't you go get a real job? Why are you focused on something like this? And maybe they had a bad experience, and maybe they've heard of something. And I'm not saying that there aren't bad companies. There are bad companies out there. But you know what? A majority of traditional businesses fail too. So you're going to have companies that fail in this industry. But this industry continues to grow year after year after year as well. And when I went and I tried to do the research and look and see from the Direct Selling Association, what was the global revenue for direct sales as a whole, not just North America, but as a whole. What I found was not only that it grew every single year, but the rate in which it's growing. You're going to see certain years it just grows. But last year, over 192, well, it was 192.9, but I'm just going to say over $192 billion in sales was generated through this platform, through people empowering people, through word of mouth, through a better way. And I want to put that in perspective as we think about this, because this isn't just some industry that, is going nowhere. This is not just an industry or something that you should be ashamed of because it's shrinking, because nobody does it. Yes. Okay, there's, as far as retail sales, as far as traditional, okay, that's obviously at the top of the charts. But when you look at what we're doing and how it's growing and how it's changing and how it's impacting the world, and you look at $192.9 billion. Now, I was thinking about this because of the fact that, once again, the Super Bowl's coming up. The Super Bowl is obviously the biggest game in the NFL, and the NFL as a whole does $16 billion. And so if I think that that's big, or you think, or somebody thinks it's that big, because is that an industry, or is that something that is here today and gone tomorrow? Are movies just going to disappear? Is the music industry toast? Because direct sales smokes all of those combined. If you add movies, music, the NFL, all these things together, and the billions of dollars that they generate, it's not even half as big as the industry that we're in. It's not even half as big as what we're doing. And so I want, as I talked about at the very beginning, it's always great when you can get validation on the decisions that you've made and decisions that you believe in. When you get that validation from third parties or from just numbers, because numbers don't lie. If this is continuing to grow and it's this big and it's going to continue to get bigger, and when you see how big the music industry is, or when you know how big the movie industry is, and it's nothing compared to what we're involved in and the impact that we're making, okay? And then to think about in that spectrum, do you want to know where a majority of the companies that have the staying power, the majority of the companies that last are associated? They're not associated in technology. Okay, they're not associated in things that are possibly electronic or cryptonic, whether it's crypto this or that. It's things that what? If you go and do your research, it's things that have to do with wellness. Health and wellness is the biggest segment of that. And the one that has the staying power. Because I want you to think about it. Something that might have value today. We've seen this happen again and again and again. That is, a cool piece of technology. I think of companies without naming names that were selling video emails. You could send a video email. People were spending 30, 40, 50 bucks a month to get video emails and this and that. Okay, what are we doing right now? It's free. And so with technology, it's tough to build a legacy company, a residual income long-term. Because why? Because it's going to be free most likely. Google's going to give it away in the future. And your business is gone. Technology changes so fast. But you want to know what does not change? What the cells of your body need every single day. Now, that's not going to change. They need nutrients. What can change in that demographic is the way and the method to do that. And here at Rain, our method of going to the source, using the seed, is the most powerful method to be able to get dense nutrients to the cells of your body. Okay, that's it. It's the purest. It's not messed around with as far as, extract this and extract that, not knowing what really is the active ingredient that's making things happen. How about we use the hundreds of chemical compounds that are already in the seed and let your body do what it's going to do? So when you look at this industry that's growing, and you look at the segment in the industry that is the most long-term stable portion of that, and then you look at what we have, man, hopefully that excites you. Hopefully that helps you know that you are on the right path. You have made the right decision. And the next time somebody questions this industry, ask them to question the NFL. Ask them if they question the music industry. Because the music industry and the movie industry and the NFL combined do not come close to the industry that we're in. So, as I want you to think about that, as if you do watch the Super Bowl, here coming up in a week or so, if you do watch that, I want you to think about this. Think of how big that is, but think of how big the industry is that we're in. And think of how big our company within that industry is going to be and the impact that it's going to make. Of course, we're going to obviously get people that are frustrated as we continue to grow. Of course, when you start to consolidate some of these other portions of what we're dealing with in nutrition because it's a better way, they're not going to just be happy about it. Yes, of course, there's going to be negativity, but you know what? There's going to be so much positivity because the results work. And what we're doing flat out works as we change people's lives. So anyway, there's some validation for you. Hopefully that, once again, gives you some ammunition in the future that if somebody is discounting what we're doing, they don't know what they're talking about. If somebody doesn't believe that this has a future, they haven't seen the numbers and they don't get it. Because what we have and what we're doing is going to continue to get bigger, is going to continue to become stronger, is going to be the future because it's a better way to market products. And we have the better way to get nutrition to the cells of your body and other people's bodies. So change can happen. They can get parts of their life back that they thought were gone, and we can get the most out of what we call here life. And I mean, how do we not be excited about that? How do we be ashamed of that? Yeah, there's nothing to be nervous about when we're doing what we're doing and making the impact that we're making. So anyway, hopefully this helps. If it does, let me know in the comments. I always love to see who's listening the first time, who's watching this as a replay. Make sure you let me know. But if this helped, just give me a thumbs up. If this is something that you think can help you in your business, give you some ammo. If nothing else, just validate what you already know and what you already believe, that you are on the right path. This is going to continue to get bigger, and there's going to be a day when it's 200 billion. And 250 billion and 300 billion and 300 and 400 billion. It's going to continue to grow because it is that better way. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. This is Byron Belka, who is a networking professional. I love what I do. I'm proud of it. I'm proud to be teamed up with you. And let's go out and continue to make it rain. Take care, everybody. We'll see you.